I'm fortunate today to be joined by César Saldaña, the head of the Consejo Regulador, here for sherries, vinegars, brandies, everything really, but we're here to talk primarily about sherry. I've just been talking about the sort of history of the sherry industry and some of the challenges it's faced in recent decades. Our sense is that we are making some progress and that there is some stabilisation coming. We've just gone through COVID, so I think all businesses find it quite hard to get comparative data. But I just wonder, what's your sense of the sort of state of the union of the sherry industry today? These are wines that once dominated the world and made Jerez and the surrounding towns of the Sherry Triangle some of the richest places on earth.
So obviously COVID's been a kind of, a big turmoil for our industry, as it's been for the whole world. The interesting thing is that we've had two completely different situations depending on whether the markets are primarily on-premise or off-premise, right? So for instance, here in Spain, the situation with COVID was a real, catastrophe. I mean, why? Because of being primarily on-premise. So we didn't have any feria, we didn't have any, restaurants, we didn't have any tourism. So all these factors ended up on COVID being a real disaster in terms of sales. Right. The UK, totally different scenario, right? I mean, people drink sherry mainly at home. Even if we had the Brexit situation, 2020 was a great year in terms of sales in the UK. So where are we now after COVID? Well, right the opposite, right? We see how situation in the UK is not as good as it used to be because of, a lot of people is no longer at home. So they're traveling, and you always have a certain percentage of the population, of the British population abroad. So, and doing different things. So UK is not looking that good. And also we have the issue of future taxes, tax increases in the years to come. So we're a little bit worried about the situation in the UK. Spain, right the opposite. I mean, we're booming in Spain. Our sales are growing by 20-25% compared to last year. We've had feria, we've had Rocío, we've had tourism is back. So situation is fairly. So all in all, we are in, let's say, good shape, average in terms of volume. But again, there's some clouds in the horizon because we have cost increases. We've had a short crop. We have cost increases, bottles and transports, etc., etc. So we think that the future will be a little bit shrinking in terms of volume. Prices will go up, I'm afraid, but we'll see.
What other markets outside your traditional markets are showing sort of interest and maybe areas of future potential?
Well, certainly in the future, we're looking at more, our big objective as a sector is to reposition sherry as a wine, right? So that means gastronomy, that means talking much more about grapes, talking much more about vineyards, talking much more. So all these messages are being put across more and more by companies and also by the global communication, by the industry, the Consejo Regulador as well. So this continues to be our main goal, to reposition sherry as a wine, as one of the great wines in the world, in fact. And some markets where we have to start from scratch and start with that message. Some of the markets have understood that positioning much better. And but basically, this is where we are. Because of having, another issue that is really affecting us is the short crop of this year. I mean, we're having less wine, We're very short in terms of replacement for our criaderas y soleras for next year. So most of the houses, what they're doing, they're focusing on their premium brands, right? I mean, so probably there's little future for very cheap supermarket sherry. I mean, there are some houses which are kind of specialized on that segment of the market. They will have very hard times in being able to supply, to serve that part of the market. So I guess most of the bodegas, most of the houses are focusing on that premium segment and trying to put across the messages about sherry as a much more high quality wine.
Yeah, I mean, certainly that's the view of Sherry Aficionado. That's why I started it, and it's been great to have that message sort of repeated and amplified everywhere we've kind of been this week. You know, the sort of hashtag Sherry Revolution stuff that certain bodegas are promoting. I think it's a very interesting wrapper around which to try and give that some substance.
Yeah, well, I'm not so much. I mean. In favor of kind of sherry revolution. I'm more in favor of a sherry evolution, right? Yeah, so, and in that sense, I think we're giving steps. I mean, sometimes these steps may not be very significant, but the good thing is that as I can see the different houses, we're all in the same line.
Yeah, yeah. So César, thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure. Thank you.
So that concludes my conversation with César Saldaña about the current state of the sherry industry, and I hope to get back to César after this year's harvest to see how things have evolved further. Don't forget also to check out my other conversation with César about the evolving regulatory framework that the sherry industry is experiencing. Some very significant changes there, and I think some quite exciting ones. So check that out above. If you enjoyed this video, please do like and subscribe, and of course caress that notification button so you won't miss any future episodes. Until next time, salud y nos vemos.